Hi ladies, it's Claire. Welcome to tutorial 4 of Johanna Basford's Magical Jungle colouring book page. This is my progress so far, and today we're going to be doing an ocean background. We will be doing sky background in this top right hand corner, but for today I just want to concentrate on the ocean. Before I start on that, I just want to point out a few things that I've added with previous techniques that I've used. So these background leaves here, because they're in the background, I've just blended them in the same way we blended these leaves here, but I've used a deeper green. So I've used peacock green and grass green, and these little highlights here are spring green. Then I've blended these, I think they're campanula flowers. I've got grass green stalks and little tiny canary yellow tips to the flowers. I've got deco pink, followed by pink, followed by process red, followed by mulberry, and that gives that lovely pink to purple effect on that blending. They're really nice colour combinations, those. Over here you'll see I've blended some very similar, well they are similar, they're the same, purple colours to the ones we did in tutorial 1, except I've only used 3 colours instead of 4 because clearly the leaves are smaller. I've used, going from bottom to top, I've used lilac, parma violet and a deep violet, for this very top darker colour. Now the outside of these I've used a canary yellow, and you can see it stands out really well. If I just get my trusty colour wheel, you can see violet over here, which clearly these colours are. And then in the opposite corner we've got yellow, and that just means that the colour wheel is telling you which families of colour will go together, and you can see how well that works with the bright yellow highlight around the edges. And then finally, before we start the background, I just want to show you these leaves here. I've chosen some really nice kind of sea greens, sea blues, and you can see that they look like they're highlighted at the front of the leaf to give a 3D effect. Now this is blending in exactly the same way that we did the blending on these leaves, but instead of going in downward strokes, I've actually kind of used a horizontal stroke. And what you'll see is that as we go through the ocean background, that's the technique that you use. So it's blending still the same, but you are using horizontal strokes instead of downward ones. And I thought if I've pre-coloured these, then once you've had a go at the ocean, you'll be able to do these because it's exactly the same principle. And it was just to show you that you can use that technique not just on ocean backgrounds, but also on any kind of leaves that you want. And as I say, it just highlights the lighter part of the leaves and works quite well rather than just going up and down in colour. So I think, yes you can, just about see these pencils that I've got out here. These are what we're going to use to produce the beach and the ocean. So I've got eggshell, which is what we're going to use for the sand. Then I'm going to blend the sand with the start of the sea in cream. Then going from light to dark blue, I've got sky blue light, I've got non-photo blue, I've got true blue, I've got cerulean blue, and I've got Copenhagen blue. And you can see there that I've got my blender pencil ready and my handy white Sakura gel pen. So what I'm going to do is, very old-fashioned, I'm going to take my ruler. And I think I said on tutorial 1 that we're planning to put a tree up here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to put that in, although I'm not going to do anything with it today. But I want to put it in because clearly the ocean isn't going to go to the far side of this page. It will hit the tree. So very, 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 very simply, I'm going to draw myself a straight line. And I'm not pressing hard because I don't, and I'm using an HB pencil, but I'm not pressing hard because I don't want to make a mark on the page when I then go and rub it out. So I'm going to do it up to there, and I'll tell you why in a second. So if I just take my ruler away, you can see that I've immediately put kind of a tree, and that tree will go into the crease of the page. Now what I'm going to do is just quickly take this line out, and that will be the roots of the tree when we come to do it. What I'm going to do is, to make this a little bit more interesting, I'm going to put a little branch in there about that thick, like so, and that will go behind those leaves, and then just take that tree trunk by hand up to the top. And that's all we need to do with that today. I just wanted that in the foreground because the ocean will sit behind it. So, ocean. What we're going to do first is, and I don't need my HB pencil now, I can put that to one side. I'm just going to take my Copenhagen blue, which is the deepest blue of the colours that I've got out. And I'm going to make the horizon line in that, because I know that that colour will be on my horizon, so I can make that line across the page, and I'll know that when I get to where I need to be here, that'll be the colour that I'll be using. So again, it's quite good in terms of planning to know which colours you're putting where. So I'm going to put a horizon line, I think, about, I'm just going to turn that ruler around. I'm going to put the horizon line about here. So I've got the blue pencil, deep breath, because you're going to make a mark on the paper in pencil. We're going to take that horizon line just across there, being careful of the flowers that I've pre-coloured. And I'm literally going to go all the way across the page, past these flowers here, past the leaf, past this leaf, and there we go. Horizon line. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take the cream colour, and I'm going to make another line a little bit further down where I want the sand to start. So I'm going to put that, I think, just at the top of the deer's ears, so somewhere about here. And I'm just going to do that, and you might not see this because it's a very, as you can see, pale shade. And I'm just going to mark that out like that, and just take it across there behind these leaves. So you probably just about be able to see that. So everywhere between here and here will be the sea, will be the ocean, and that's what we're going to colour today with some sand. What I'll do is, I'll show you how to do this portion here, and then later on, after I've done the tutorial, I'll replicate in the background the same sea colours that I've got behind these plants here, because it's detailed and it'll take too long in the video, but the principle is exactly the same. So what I'm going to do is, I am now going to move my book, because as I say, we're going to be blending in a different way. We are going to be, so we need our book like this. We're going to be blending like that, so we're going to be blending across, because you want the ocean to look flat. So we're going to be doing this. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take my lightest blue, which is the sky blue light, and I think what I'll do is, I will just zoom in for you that little bit, like so. Okay, so this is our sand line. So I'm taking the lightest blue, and I'm just going to very gently make a line about that wide up against that sand colour, like this. Then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use the same pencil, but I'm going to do another strip, and I'm going to press on a lot harder. So you can see we're still making strips of light and firmer hand in the same way that we blended in tutorial 1, but I'm just doing it on a horizontal plane rather than a vertical plane. And as I say, that's the exact technique that I used for the sea green leaves at the bottom of the page that I showed you earlier. Then again, we're kind of going to make a sandwich almost. I'm going to put another light-handed stripe on the outside, like so. Now again, that's a light colour, so bear with me. You'll be able to see it better in a moment. Now I'm going to take my, actually I'm going to do the sand first, so I'm going to take the cream colour. I'm going to take the cream colour there. And what we're going to do is, we're going to go over the lightest part of that sky blue light here, and just gently, I'm not pressing hard, just gently put a little stripe in there, being taking care around the butterfly, little stripe there, and then again a little bit harder on your next line down. And I'm also being careful not to pick up colour from this deep turquoise colour here, because if the end of your pencil strays too far, you probably will. So I'm pressing firmer now, a little bit there. and then I'm going to make another little sandwich. So I'm going to do a little lighter touch sand, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my lightest ocean colour, and then I'm just going to press firmer and blend these two together. Now, although one's blue and one's yellow or cream, because they're fairly light colours, they still blend quite well even though they're different colours. So you can see that that just looks like the sand is starting to go into the beginnings of the ocean. Do a little bit of blending there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my eggshell colour, which makes a really nice sand colour. There is a sand coloured pencil in the Prismacolour box, but I find that the eggshell works better. So I'm going to just lightly, where I have the slighter shading of the cream colour, I'm just going to go over this lightly with the eggshell, and you can see instantly that it starts to look like a sandy beach. So I'm not pressing hard, just pressing quite lightly. Being careful of that turquoise colour again. And then I'm going to do a stripe where I press a lot harder in the eggshell. So you're kind of almost building a colour sandwich, for want of a better description. I bet that's a first. Coloured sandwich. And again, just a lighter stripe down here, and what we'll do in later tutorials is we'll put a grassy bank down here which will melt into the eggshell, but we'll leave that for today, and I'll just show you how to put in the beach, because otherwise it's going to take too long. This is going to take quite a while as it is. I think it'll probably be about a 20-25 minute video, I would have thought. So I'm going to go back to my cream colour, and where I've got this lighter stripe of cream, I'm just going to go over that again and blend it into that lovely eggshell colour which makes the sand. And you can vary between kind of straight strokes, and what I tend to do is if I'm in smaller spaces, instead of doing this, I tend to scumble blend, because it just gives you that much more accuracy. And again, sorry if the camera is shaking a little bit, it's difficult to rectify that when you're zoomed in so closely. Although it's mounted, it is still quite difficult. Okay. So I'm just going to smooth out that eggshell colour, and then we can leave this bottom bit for today. Okay, so I'm going to put the cream and the eggshell down for now. Go back to my sky blue light. So I'm just going to quickly run that lightly over the cream again. And don't worry too much about the butterfly's antenna, because I'm going to colour them just in plain black. So I'm not too bothered about going over those. Okay, now we start to see where the ocean comes into play. And if you want to, you can blend away as much as you want, but for expediency's sake and the length of the video, see, I've just caught that cobalt turquoise there, which is not what I was wanting to do. So Tombow 100 pencil, you will find that if you just rub that over the top, you can get it to go away. There's nothing that isn't fixable, really. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take my next deepest blue colour, which is non-photo blue. I'm going to put a lighter hand. If I just mark out there, you can see that that top stripe was the lighter hand of the slightly lighter shade with the sky blue light. So I'm just going to go over that lightly. And remember that I've got 5 colours that I'm using for the ocean, so I'm trying again to think from here to here to try and divide it up into kind of 5 equal spaces, which is giving me the idea of how deep I want to make these little stripes. Now, as I say, I'm going to press on that little bit harder with my next stripe, and you can start to see that lovely, lovely ocean colour coming out. There we go. And don't worry if you go over onto that tree slightly, because this is going to be quite a deep brown colour, so you'll be able to cover that up anyway. And then again, in a lighter hand, my final slice of the sandwich in this colour, like that. Now what I'm going to do is go back to the sky blue light, and I'm going to gently, being careful of the cobalt, turquoise, blend over these two blues. And I'm pressing really hard now. You can probably see from the way the camera's shaking, because it's mounted to the table and the table's shaking. But it's better than me dropping the phone halfway through, which has happened. Hence the mount. Right, just going to blow that off. And like the blending that we did on the leaves, you can go back across this as many times as you like with all the various shades of colour, and just be happy in yourself that you've got a good blend line and some really nice colours. And like I say later on after the tutorial, because the sea obviously goes over here behind those leaves, I will be filling that in as well. It's just that if I showed you how to do this portion, it's quicker. So I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to pick up my third deepest colour, which is True Blue. That was a Madonna song, I think. That's showing my age, isn't it? So again, this lighter shade of the former blue, I'm just going to gently go over that with this pencil and make my first sandwich. Then I'm going to do a heavier stripe, and you can see it's heavier because you can see the depth of colour coming through. Just being careful of my campanula flowers. So again, this is in the firmer hand. Don't be too worried about the tree at this stage. And then I'm going to go back to my non-photo blue and just blend that away. And the reason I'm going light to dark is because if you imagine looking out on the sea, the blue of the sea gets deeper the further you look out to sea, because clearly the water's deeper. So just by using these different colours, you'll get that natural effect of the depth of the water the further you look out. It's always good to think about what, when you're actually colouring backgrounds, it's good to think about what you would actually see in real life if you looked at something and consider the colours, because a lot of the time the various shades of a colour just make it more realistic. So I'm going to go back to my True Blue and do myself a little light shade there, because I forgot that just before. So I'm going to make myself the last end of that sandwich. I was just checking that my phone was still recording then, because it was playing up and being naughty when I did video 3, hence the 2 parts for it. Okay. Now I'm going to take the second but darkest colour, which is the cerulean. Is it cerulean or cerulean? I think it's cerulean. And again, just lightly go over that light shade of the former colour, and you can see it's really starting to get dark now. It's a really, really nice colour. Just gently do that. Being careful of that leaf again. Then I'm going to do, pressing on a lot firmer, as you can see. So when I post these to Facebook and YouTube, I will again make sure that I post the colours for you. Thanks, Anne Bate, for that excellent feedback. Rather than me just showing you the pencils, it's easier, I think, if you have them out prepared, which was a really good point. Anne's been doing some absolutely fantastic, well, a lot of you have, but you've been sending me your progress as you've gone along, and it's been absolutely wonderful to see it. I think I made the comment somewhere along the line that it's like being a songwriter and someone playing your song back to you at a concert. It's quite humbling, really, when you're working with something and then somebody sends you what they've done and you've taught them how to do it. It's really satisfying. Okay, so enough gabbling on. We're going to go back to our true blue colour and again just blend out here. And as you can see, because these pencils are so waxy and so vivid a colour, they blend just as well in kind of horizontal line ranges as they do in vertical line ranges. And hopefully you'll start to see those lovely colours starting to come out now. So I'm going to go to my final deepest colour, which is the Copenhagen blue. Same principle. I'm going to go over this bit lightly. But what we'll do this time is, because we haven't got another colour after this, I won't need the end to my sandwich, if you like. The next stripe that I'll do will be in the firm hand, and then we won't need another lighter one. So using this is the line that we drew in Copenhagen blue for the horizon. I'm just going to follow that. Actually, I'm just going to sharpen my pencil. There we go, so that I can just get right up close to this line and press really hard, like that. And then take that down to my lighter shading there, pressing really hard. Just scumple that around there for a little bit of care around the flowers. There we go. And this is why I've got my book turned this way, because the strokes that you want to make the sea look horizontal, it's easier with your book at a 90-degree angle. I'm sure you'll find that when you try it. So I'm going to go back to my second deepest blue colour, which is the cerulean blue, and just blend that away like that. And just look at those colours. They're absolutely fantastic. And I know you need to take a deep breath on backgrounds, because you're kind of, it's a brave thing to do, because you're not working from someone else's diagram, or you're just kind of making up your design as you go along. And it took a lot for me to actually put my own background in. It took a lot of kind of encouragement at looking what you guys have posted and reviewing what's online and various other ideas. But it's so good once you get into doing it yourself. It really makes a difference to put a background in your work. So I'm just going back to the slightest light blue colour and just putting a little bit in there. And as I say, you can go back over all of the colours however many times you want. Where's my cream colour? I'm just going to try and blend that edge of the sea away a little bit into the lighter sand. And then what I'll do is I'll show you how to make the waves. There we go. So I'm going to turn my book round again and just make sure that you're in shot. Yes, you are. And you can see now that I've turned it the right way how effective it really, really is at making the sand and flow into those beautiful ocean colours. So I have my Sakura white gel pen, and I'm just going to check that the tip's clean. I'm just going to wipe it on my cloth. And then what I'm going to do is, and this can be completely random, absolutely completely random, I'm going to gently just run it across a little bit like that. And I'm hardly pressing at all. But what that gives you the impression of is little bits of waves breaking. And it doesn't have to be full stripes. You can do it just little dots or slightly larger lines. And you can see instantly that it just makes the ripples of the waves. Now, before the gel pen dries, because it'll take a few seconds to dry, if you made a complete boo-boo, that will just dot off with your finger. So don't be worried if you do a wave that's a bit awry, because you'll just be able to quickly wipe it off. And just as I get to the foreshore here, I'm just going to do some little Z marks like that, because it'll just look like the water's lapping up at the front. It'll look like kind of the tide coming in and out. And that, ladies, is how to make an ocean background. I think what we'll do tomorrow is I will show you how to do the sky, and after that we'll have a quick look at putting this grassy background in here, and probably after that we'll have a look at the tree. I'm saving the day till last. I want a few practices at him myself, because I need to understand where the light's coming from the sky as to where I'm going to highlight him. So I thought if I got that background in first, we could do him a little bit later on. Okay, well, I think that's enough for today. Again, any questions, just bounce me a line on Facebook or YouTube, and enjoy. See you soon. Bye.